jump back in where I left off. So my last goal here is to do speeds, action speeds, movement speeds. What's the right word? Speeds on the moves in the RPG turn-based system. All the moves get chosen simultaneously, but some of them are meant to happen soon or like early in the queue, and some are meant to happen late in the queue. This used to be accomplished by just having phases, and this was how it was done in the old. Uh, this is how it was done in my old simulator, the like prototype one. Is there were just a couple of phases, like quick actions went first, and then actions would play out over the course of 3 phases of attack, so early, regular, and late. And that was it. That was just the ordering principle. Is there's these phases. Um, However, I have, as I've been working on it and massaging the pieces together here, I ended up finding that it was just a lot more confusing. And as I was thinking about the structure of that setup, it really felt more like what I wanted was a single queue of all the moves that need to happen, and then just put a speed on each one and let them sort it out. Because that would let me express things more easily, like, hey, I want to do this move, which is usually late, soon, early instead, and that's an extra, a different power that lets you do that. Or the idea of, like, if all quick actions happen at the same time, then ones that are things like target priority are happening at the same speed as things like the damage being dealt, and that's cool. But uh, I think it would also be nice to have um, the possibility of going even faster, like guaranteeing you beat someone with a punch by going a little above and beyond. So the way I intend to do this is to basically say there's going to be some integer, it's going to be assigned integer, and I'm just going to sort on that with the higher numbers going first in the order. So the quick actions will all be default to 2, normal actions will all be default speed of 0, and activities will all be default speed of -2. And then this number can be adjusted by either actions, or some tiles might want to happen later or earlier. So like um, they'll make adjustments by 1, and that'll be the rule of the game. That's kind of what I had in mind. So now the question is, how is that going to work? The first spot where that makes sense as a concept to think about is probably in shuffle and run moves, because there's a shuffle right here, and this is actually going to need to become a sort. So that tells me that each move here wants a speed integer, and we're going to have So this sorts them, but it doesn't shuffle them. What I think I'll do is I'll just shuffle them first, and then I'll sort them. Because the shuffle, whatever order it puts them in, selects the order of... This is a stable sort, so it keeps them in that order afterwards. So the shuffle just gives us... It's just a... Sorry, words aren't allowed, and I get myself confused. Shuffle here is just a shuffle over the whole thing so that I don't have to think about it right now. There's definitely a way to make this faster than it is. That's not the goal right now. The goal is just to get the rules working in a way that I like. So now they all have a speed, and they get sorted by the speed. I'm also going to take this opportunity to be done with this function and to drop that right there. Which looks like it mostly just works. And that gets us one step closer to being able to save the move queue and resume it later, if that's something we still want later. Looks like it's called moveset in the block here. Oh, I see. Moveset then. Okay. Now what I have to do is say, whenever I play a move, how am I going to set its speed? For now, the answer is going to be that the tile proto target isn't real yet. We'll just get rid of that, but speed will be real. Target isn't real. Target isn't real. And we'll just have to encode the rule manually that quick actions means speed of 2. Quick action, quick action, action. This is an action, has a speed of 0. Speed of 2. Hang back is a quick action, speed of 2. Action has a speed of 0. This quick action has a speed of 0 because this is actually a death reaction. action speed of 0, quick action speed of 2, action speed of 0, action speed of 0. Actually, this is going to have a speed of 2, or a negative 2. It's going to be quite slow, now that I think about it. But, now, when we push a move, we grab the tile proto. At this level, we're going to say you have to set the speed explicitly when you push a move, because this is just the data structure here. You don't want to do anything else in there. So here you need to know your speed, but you have the proto, so you have the built default speed for this tile ready to go. Now that's not the whole story. We still want to be able to reach in and modify that, either through a parameter that gets added in, or after the fact somehow. Not really sure how it'll work, because I guess I'm thinking when that applies might actually be very different from what I'm thinking. Because here, this is the gather for moves as they exist. When that would be different is when somebody's... Yeah, there's probably going to need to be a mechanism of modifying move speeds that are already in the queue and inserting new moves into the queue. I've already got ideas about inserting moves into the queue. And when we do the rogues move in a minute, because that's one of the ones that I want to implement, the rogues move actually is going to involve 2 different tiles in the move queue, even though it's 1 tile on the it's 1 tile on the character that does it, but there's a secondary piece that gets inserted into the move queue when you use it somehow. Basically, I have to say when this is used. Oh yeah, the language is actually gonna be wrong. For the rogue to work the way I fully intend it. I can get it to feature parity with the old one, but I was gonna tweak it, and I'm realizing I don't actually have the system in the right spot yet. This will have to become a new system that I iterate on. This is kind of stepping into the next iteration already on the system, but I'm not going to go too far with it. This is more like just a new baby feature to prompt another iteration after the fact, but I'm still going to be at the spot where I want to be for the visualizations to happen next. That should be enough to guarantee that the hanging back is working perfectly now. Okay. Let's see. These two should be hanging back. These two should not. So none of them should... Oh, these two got hit. Wait, my sort can't possibly be correct. Let me go back and make sure I actually wrote a sort. Okay. I equals 0. We look for the largest. Well, that doesn't help. Okay. Okay, these two should stand back during the next fight. Oh, he took a damage. They'll all stand back. He's going to take 2 hits on the first round. So they, in order to keep everyone alive, these guys all stand back. He takes both hits. And now he'll stand back. These guys will be safe because there's only one guy left. So there. Now they're doing it right. Now they're managing the damage as efficiently as they possibly can, trying to make sure to never lose any of their party members. They go and rest and heal up. But they just can't make it. This route is impossible. Now, if they were facing these things that were one at a time, they make it in perfect condition. They're doing fine against that party, or against that route as well. And the adventure party is not so good. I think the mercenaries might be beating the adventure party. Okay, there, they can fall off. We don't have histogram comparisons yet, so I can't do the side by side, but I'd love to get close to that soon when I'm on another phase of simulation feature upgrades. But simulation analysis upgrades or something, right? The meta simulation layer. What's left to do though? Mercenary. So let me take a look at the characters I got. Farmer, mercenary, captain, medic, wizard. So I'm missing a rogue for the adventure party, who's gonna need the sneak attack tile. And going to encounter, attack, sneak attack is an action with a speed of -1 instead of 0. And a max of 1. And sneak attack. That's not right. Yeah, well, max of 1, yes. Maybe I don't want to change the targeting rules too much. I'm going to take a step back from that notion. I do want to have targeting. There are moves where you pick a character. Sometimes it's the ally, like Protect is supposed to be... I don't have that here. Protect is supposed to be not random, but have an ally or a target that you get to choose. So it'd be nice to go and build the tile language and brain scripting language for that. That's yet another feature I haven't caught up to yet from the original prototype. But this part here, there's an enemy party. You don't bother with this part. We're just going to deal 1 damage. And then, on the holder, we're going to decrement the sneak attack by 1. So this is a one-time use, but it has a refresh. Sneak attack when the encounter begins. Like, this isn't the right rule either. What I actually have in mind is something more like RPG tile script condition. Sneak attack. This can be used. If you are in an encounter, Okay, so if it's the first round, you can use sneak attack. That's the idea. Right. Okay, cool. Except I want to see the adventure party. So, the adventure party now has the rogue. Now, why is the rogue's move good? Let me just explain that real quick because it might not be obvious. The sneak attack that I just wrote over here. Well, it's bad for one reason, which is there's no brain script on it yet. Let's also get that in there. Sneak attack. If you have an enemy party, then use sneak attack. All there is to it. Okay, so sneak attack. It can be used if we are in an encounter and it's the first round. What it does is it hits an enemy for 1 damage. What's the big deal with that? Well, it does it slower. How is that a good thing? Well, in this system, because you don't choose your targets, if you are choosing your target, right? If you're rolling your target later than everyone else, then if you're up against 2 guys and you're all randomly picking a target, it's possible, right? Say you've got 2 guys with 2 health each and 4 guys hitting them. It's possible that each of them will pick 2 at random, right? It's possible to partition it up so you just wipe the other 2 guys out in one go. But very often, 3 of them will pile up on one and 1 will go to the other, or you get 4 on one and none on the other, right? It can deviate from that pretty easily. A lot of ways for it to do that. What the rogue does is says, I'll pick my target after the rest of you have gone. So he's like in hiding. Now the part I can't simulate that I want to simulate is that when he does this, he should have a lower target priority. This used to be very easy to pull off something like this because the timing of things was kind of hacked everywhere. Now what happens is much more strict. This goes off during the shuffle and run moves part, right? The this used really means when this tile is executed as a move in the move queue, this is what it does. The condition on it says when you are deciding what moves you can use, here's the condition. That's an interesting thought. I might have done conditions the wrong way. Good to notice that, but not a big deal. Moving on. If there's a condition here, then this is telling us when we can add the move to the queue or to the set for the player to choose, right? It does not decide whether or not we're going to actually run it when it's in the move queue. What does happen though is when we say, like, when a brain script says it wants to use this, it used to be that all this would run right then. And then I had a separate system. If you go back through and look at some of the older iterations of the RPG simulator, instead of directly decrementing hearts, I used to have hits, and I would keep a queue of those, and I'd resolve them later. So I could have a move like this. What would happen is when the brain said it wanted to use it, it would run the effect right then. It wouldn't wait. And damage was all queued up in these hits and applied later. But other things like changing your target priority would apply immediately. And that's kind of the idea I have in mind still. But what would need to happen is somehow it needs to be possible that when you choose to play sneak attack, it puts two events into the move queue, an early one and a late one that go together with that one move. Right? That one action in the move space needs to become two different events in the move queue. So there's a separation between choosing to use something and coding what happens when you choose to use it versus coding what happens when it goes off that I haven't actually dealt with before, and it's not built in right now, so there's no easy way to do what I want. I could give the rogue the hang back ability and have them have a special rogue brain. No, I don't have any of that set up though. The thought I was gonna say was that they could just whenever they choose to use sneak attack, they'd also hang back to make the effect work, but um it's actually not an option to hack that together that way either. Um I'd have to override their default brain on in the case of like the hangback tile. I could give them a pseudo hangback tile, a separate version of the same tile that doesn't come with a brain attached, and then have RPG use get called twice by the brain script. So the bot would be able to do it, but a human player wouldn't. Or I could just do this, right? Okay, there we go. Now, how will we know if the sneak attack is getting used? Well, we'll see an increased probability of all of the enemies getting killed. Boom, they both died in one go. Next round. Somehow, he didn't use his sneak attack, I guess. I don't know why. I take it someone got the protection and got hit. Yeah, this guy took the protection and then got hit. Good job, Captain. And then why didn't the sneak attack go off again? Let's look in the debugger and just be sure that sneak attack is going more than once. It should definitely go off. Now it's looking like it's not going off at all. Okay, so this is telling it to do the hangback move in the queue and then do the sneak attack move queue. Right. And then you're still going to do run moves, right? And the number of moves in the set here 8. We have 6 people, probably 2 tactics going off or something. Not tactics, quick actions. They were called tactics in the original prototype. Think of them that way. This move has a speed of 2. What I can do is I can look at the set of moves real quick if I like. Can't see this box. Huh. Anyway. I don't know what these blue lines are. Let's look at the speed this way. Speed 2, speed 0. So this first one here must be our hang back. Then we've got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, -1. 4, 5. Come up with 6 moves. This is the rogue. This is the rogue. 3, 2. Else took. Yeah, each of these is unique. 5, 5, 0, 2, 0, 6, 7, 0, 2. No duplicates in there. That's 6 unique characters, but there are only 6 characters in play to begin with. Let's see if we can track down a little bit more. Actually, here's a good way to do it. Let's do machine frame P2. That should be 2 party, 4 2 children, so 6 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 children. Count is 8 on the. These just cannot be a character, or it's like a dead character or something. Okay. The mystery continues. So, um, see here. What are those children? This one? This one? This one? This one? These is different. Okay, those four exist as actual characters in play. Five, 0. 6. And so then the moves, this 3208. There's oh, this is the one. 3208 here. Can we have each of these go into X mode? Yeah. 3208. 3550. 2DE8. E08. 208. 3670. 028. Okay, so did I misunderstand? It looked like they were all there. This one here. 1, 2, 3. Good. Arthi. Oh. Okay. 208 happens here. That's number 4. 208 at the bottom is also number 4. 550 is number 5. DE8. Two. C08 is number 1. 208 is number 4. Oh, that one. I see what's happening. There are 4 in here. Weird. Okay. I didn't accidentally give the rogue the hang back, did I? No, just sneak attack. Three, 6, 7, 0. Position number 8. Presumably 0, 2, 8. Six. This must be position number 3, 0, 2, 8, 0, 2, 8. Yes, okay. So the rogue actually got 4 moves into the queue somehow. The first one has a speed of 2. Presumably this is the hang back. Find out when we do. Yep, that's about right. For the next move. The next move in the queue isn't. Next move in the queue isn't the rogue. This should not be the rogue. C08. Then 08. We're back to the rogue. Got an action. The action is oh right, you're still running your attack. And I enforce the move counters late. So even if I wanted you to say you choose the sneak attack first, you're still going to end up putting attack in the queue with your bot brain, unless I go and modify the brain behave differently somehow. How do I want to do this? Okay, so the problem is that the rogue is playing the attack brain and the sneak attack brain. I think what I need to do the right thing to do here would be to introduce the brain scripting, right? So this would be RPG brain def rogue brain, RPG brain inherit, rogue inherits default, override the RPG brain script for attack to say, just like with the normal attack, we want to know if we have an enemy party first. And then if we do, Or maybe we want to know if we have this first. Well, no. If you have, what you want to do is you want to say if you have this subcontext round counter equals is greater than 1. So the brain script is saying if it's a rogue brain, and we're trying to decide whether to attack, the answer is don't do it unless, or don't do it when it's the first round of an encounter. That way sneak attack can work, right? And then we would want the rogue brain to be the brain for the rogue character. um Okay, now we're here. He uses sneak attack. For sure he uses it because look, they're all dead. Next fight. 2 dudes. He must have used it. They're both dead. I mean, it's not necessarily proof that it works, but when they have consistently good rounds, it's because there's because of that advantage of attacking late. Right? Sneak attack means you wait to see how the rest of the fight goes, and then you pop out of nowhere and hit someone who's a little maybe dropped their guard because it looked like all the fighting was over, but the rogue is popping out and doing a sneak attack. But you can only do it on the first round. So if you're up against a bunch of people, like a bunch of enemies all at once, then it's great on round one. You're guaranteed to the sneak attack will land on someone, but then you can't sneak again. You can't sneak up on them once they already realize, once they're keeping track of you. So it's round one only, and that means against like a boss, a single character with a bunch of hit hearts, it's not that effective in this case, right? Okay, cool. With that, oh, and I should go mention over here, dumb hack, because I don't have something like when added to queue events for tiles or something like that. Okay, so that's tile move speeds though. That's the rogue character. Looking at it, I think that's the rest of the ones that I had, at least in terms of player characters. I'm still missing the poison effects from the old simulator, but I think this is enough. Like poison is a fairly simple concept in terms of how it gets tied into the tiles. Now that this much of the framework is working, I'm not too worried about that. What I want to do is wrap it up for today, and tomorrow we are going to finally get started on the part that I'm actually. The reason I'm rushing ahead to get this stuff cleaned up so that I can move on is because I want to fuse this into the viewer. So we got over here, got my little asset viewer, which has basically turned into the beginning of game rendering it's become the beginning of a game rendering layer, essentially, with a little controller support. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to take my simulation of, the adventure party with the captain and the medic and the wizard and the rogue, and I'd like to put them sort of out here in this space up against a couple goblins or the mushrooms and see it play out and see the look of these encounters. Maybe move them around in the space and figure out how I want to lay out characters. Maybe I'll get these walls out of the way and we'll put them more like here and here, right? I want to figure out the formations. I want to figure out some basic animations. I want to figure out the mapping of characters in the simulation to sprites in the tile set that I grabbed to get this started. So there's a lot to do on that front, and that's what I'll be doing tomorrow to try to start turning this simulation into something we can see. All right, so I'm pretty excited for that. And with that, I'm going to wrap up for the day, and I'll see you all around the internet. Bye.